Hello and welcome along to the Endless Celts Podcast. It's Friday night. I am Legend and this is Franny and Stephen. How you doing?
All good, mate. All good. Still recovering from this horrendous cough that I seem to have had for like 9 years now.
I know
Um,
it's really hanging on.
down it's down in medicine left, right, and centre. I'm speaking like a horse, but I have a beer with you last night. Looking forward to it.
How's yourself, Francis?
Aye, all good. A wee bit tired. Back to working Wednesday there, Ross. So he's back into the working lives but ready to talk Celtic.
And here's me still off on holiday.
Oh, aye,
Not back.
Just everything in that Pizza Express and all that.
It's what?
Says you're at the pictures non-stop doing that Pizza Express and that. You're making
Listen.
the ways. You'll be doing another holiday, son.
What? The wife told me to vacate the premises on Thursday. I did so. No, what night's it? Wednesday. She told me to. Last night, the Wayne was at our pals, so we had a wee date night, and it was all good. Enjoyed it.
What'd you have?
Avatar.
What'd you do?
We went to see the second Avatar. Well, we watched the first Avatar first in the house, which was obviously, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's brilliant. And then we went to see the second Avatar. Went to see the second Avatar. I don't know if anybody's seen it. Haven't seen it.
It's brilliant. I
liked
liked it. I liked it.
Definitely worth a watch. It's not as good as the first one for me, but I mean that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about Celtic. We'll no bore everybody with my life. What?
I was
God.
enjoying
Right,
it.
this is
I was enjoying that.
I should have come as a surprise to you that I've not seen.
I know, but that's a conversation for off here. I'm not happy about that, Franny. You need to see at least the first one. It's tremendous. But anyway, so we're back Friday night. There wasn't a game to analyse because we done that on Monday. But before we get into that, well, obviously, no, I'm looking at this. I should have checked. Are we not sponsored by?
Things.
Oh,
there we are.
Actually, I was like, oh wait, no.
We can't go on. There's no sponsors. We can't go on.
I was like, I was gonna touch on this, and maybe it's not happening. But aye, as you can see, our sponsors there, the excellent Beer 52. Again, he's on the link. We've said it before. Tremendous array of beers, ales, whatever you want. You get them delivered to your house, and you sip away. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, whatever your preference is, whatever your shifts are, it's entirely up to you. But the beers are lovely. Get them down your gullet. And before we get into the real stuff, we'll talk about the Super
Nugget.
Six. What?
Who's
a nugget?
I know.
Plunge McNugget.
Plunge McNugget.
Oh, Kenny. But evening to everybody who's in the comments tonight, by the way, in case I forget about that. Which I didn't because I just said it. But aye, before we go into the real stuff, we'll touch on the Super Six reluctantly. But the top five, as it stands, is your man down below us there, Franny, on 256 points. Then we've got Jamie Latimer on 231. We have James Bowie on 229. Stephen Coulthard on 226, and our very own
Coulthard.
Coulthard or Coulthard. I don't know how you...
Coulthard. I think it's Coulthard.
Coulthard. We'll go with that. If he's in the comments, just correct us. I don't know how you're going to do that. We're just writing it right enough. But
Pronunciate.
like write it as in coal, like coal. Anyway, Wally 223. Franny has got a comfortable lead. What is it, like 24 points? It's a comfortable lead. I think I'm on like 203. I've missed 4 weeks. That's my excuse. I'm sticking to it. I beat Franny every single year at this, and the one time it's for everybody to see. Nah, I beat you then. Take it.
To be fair, like if VAR was invented for Super Six, it would be in play for Franny. It's a cheating positive.
I know, but listen.
Got the secret handshake.
It's a wee laugh and a joke, but Franny's doing really well on that now, and he's like our team. He's sitting comfortably at the top of the league, and it would take a hell of a swing for him not to win it for here. but we've seen
couple
it
of
before.
dodgy decisions. We'll see.
We've seen it before, and we'll see it again. But at least the power's way for Annie in the dodgy decisions. You can only blame himself if he gets it wrong.
Oh, didn't
And on that note, we'll move on, we'll start with Angie's press comments today. I mean, he does it all the time. He hits the nail on the head. Just come to you first, Stephen. Just your thoughts on basically what he said, how he answered that question on the Goldson penalty.
Well, to be fair, he done probably Neil Lennon couldn't do, and articulate a comment in response that makes him not get in trouble, but he's calling the people in charge bellends, basically. Yeah. I mean, the
but like when Anthony talks and I talk, I'm Neil Lennon.
But when I hear him coming out saying about the decisions that went against us, at least 3 major ones that he can remember at the time, and the fact that he's always came from a thought process where these things even themselves out, human error, that type of stuff. And he blatantly said that's not going to even itself out over the course of the end of the season. Since VAR has been introduced to Scottish football, it's highlighted for me again the absolute shambles of our officiating. How you get help from screens, you get help from people who are in vans or caravans or buses when they're watching the game, and they still can't come to the correct decision. And the comment about there was only 2 saves in the match from Joe and 1 from Connor, that had me laughing. And and then you get Ian Beale from across the city coming out and obviously saying Mr. Beaton got the right call on that penalty decision. It's an absolute joke, because when I look back at the Starfelt, when I look back at the Starfelt penalty kick, I mean, me and you said it, Ross, we'd be calling for it all day long. And I'm 120% sure if that happened to Parkhead for Rangers, they'd be calling for that penalty kick that Goldson done if that was Starfelt putting his hands out,
of course they would,
trying to save the ball. And Postecoglou got 100% right by saying if we were 2 each and Rangers had the chance to get that penalty kick, it was denied. They'd be talking about it like it was a title-changing moment throughout this season. It's an absolute joke. The narrative can be spun so many different ways. And also you have to factor in, and I think, I can't remember who said in the comments, I can't scroll up, someone said you have to take into account coming away from VAR, look at the fan safety issue at Ibrox. Greg Taylor and the physio got more missiles chucked at them coming off the pitch. So there's a lot of issues that need sorted out from top to bottom. You cannot keep getting away with that. We've seen last season the physio got cut with a glass bottle. We've seen the glass bottle get through at Joe Hart, smashed it in the 6-yard box. And then you see the VAR decisions, and Ange Postecoglou has come out and done it perfectly in terms of what he could say. He done it incredible. I love the man.
Aye. Listen, I completely agree with you there. And he's done it in a way where that sarcasm at the end, he said it. He said what the fans are thinking in that instance with the sarcasm at the end, the way they would say it, but he's articulated it, like you said, Stephen, in a very good way, calmly, but gets the message right across that we do feel aggrieved, but I am not blaming the referees for 1 second. I don't think he's not blaming the referees, but he's not going to come out and say that directly, because then people will say, oh, it's about the conspiracies and all that. He's gained them enough. And I think what he said today is, there's Stephen Coulthard there. I think what he said today is, it's a bit of evidence, if you like, that Celtic are feeling aggrieved now, and they are approaching it, or they have, one or the other. They either are going to, or they have approached the SFA to address these matters, because they're glaring now. Absolutely glaring for me. I'd just sort of give your thoughts on that, obviously, the way he answered that question today, Franny, and just sort of we've been talking about there.
I think David Ferguson has summed up brilliantly that he's blaming the rest of it, blaming the rest of
that's what
See,
I'm
before
saying.
Hear that called, Stephen, for you. That's got Liam Neeson for taking written or edit that voice of yours, by the way. It's brilliant. I thought you couldn't make your voice any sexier, but and you've done it.
He ripped a hole in my denims.
I thought, Postecoglou surprised me, because the whole 18 month that he's been here, he's never not that he was making excuses today. Certainly wasn't an excuse what he said, but he's never really made comments like that, called out the referees, so to speak. But he's hit the nail on the head. Like, you've got there was a one given against Livingston earlier on the season, a similar sort of incident where I think it was Aberdeen that gave it, but it was a Livingston boy. Exactly, and that's not like what annoys me about that. Folk are going, "He's still winning, stop complaining." It's like, no, that's the perfect time. Just highlight. Although we're winning, we're still highlighting issues. What we think on, like we've got question marks over these decisions, and I thought it was bang on. Is he maybe putting pressure on referees or the authorities possibly? And it's maybe just like you say, we're either have or going to speak to the SFA about some of the decisions going against us and things. So he's maybe just putting more pressure, just things in the file, and just say, look, we have got our eyes on you. We're keeping an eye on you. We're looking at other games. We want the consistency. We're not calling it conspiracies, but we're not saying it's paranoia. Just be transparent, because I mean, if you're not transparent, that kind of adds to the paranoia, because you're like, well, what's happening? And it seems like after the World Cup, they've changed the rules on how they're judging handball.
Well, they did say that,
but they've not told us what.
I know, but the annoying thing is, if they have changed the rules on that, right? Well, that's not right, because teams, not only Celtic, other teams have given away penalties with the rule the way it was being implied before. Like, say, the one we got a penalty at Livingston, right? Fair enough. I didn't think it was a penalty at the time, but they gave it. So, if that's the way they're implying the rule, they have to continue that throughout the season, then review it. They can't review it in a mid-season break for a World Cup and say, right, we're not going to give penalties for that, because it's ridiculous. Because it's now no fair, because Livingston have conceded a penalty like that, Celtic have conceded a penalty like that, Rangers don't concede a penalty like that in one of the biggest games of the season.
I think that's the second handball, is it not? Because I'm sure it was. I think it was against Ross County where Rangers got the goal late on. He sort of, intentionally handled it, but it was one of the ones like the reaction handball where you're like, I'm not going to quite get to it. And
what one was that? Sorry, Fran.
I think it was against Ross County where they scored late on to win the game. But it was like Goldson, the ball came kind of across.
Right.
One of the ones where you're leaning
Rangers,
down.
you mean?
Aye. And you're leaning
sorry.
down, and it's your natural reaction to kind of stick your hand out to control, because you're like, I can't get any back in my body. One of the ones you just can't control. And obviously, because he's the attacker or in the attacking team, I thought that was any sort of a handball for the attacking team that led to a goal. It was automatically chopped off. And then they got that one. Then I know folk have obviously had the IFAB rules out saying, it's when it's your reflex and it's up at your face, but his hands are up here, and I suppose if you break it, his hands are originally gone up already, but it's not like the ball is rattled at him. And so for me, it's a penalty all day. The Rangers one, that's a Callum, it's 100% a penalty. I've no qualms about that being given, but I don't know how even he's not getting told to look at the monitor and say, look, I think you need to look at this. Obviously, we know kind of what usually happens 9 times out of 10 when they go and look at the monitor, they change their mind. But for VAR to not think that's an issue, and I think there's video footage came out. Granted, I don't know how much you can trust it, where there's something with the Sakala one, the penalty, where he says something about how he's confident on the decision that it's a penalty. Then the Celtic one, they start the handball, and the camera cuts them, and he's like, it's no my call, or something. It's like, well, you're referee.
He says on the Sakala one, sorry, Fran.
No, that's what I was just meaning. It's like he's been the referee in one decision. He's essentially saying, I'm not refereeing again for a wee bit.
Aye, because he referees the Sakala one, and Hart says to him, you look at that, what for? When you look at it for, it's penalty.
I think
and it was a penalty.
Aye.
When you go straight.
I think if there was, the easiest way to clear it up, if there was a rule change during the World Cup, why not release a statement from the SFA and explain
100%.
Every single thing that's changed? Because then that's the open and transparent side that we all want to come into the Scottish game for the referee, so we're not always accusing them of biased decisions or horrendous calls. And David Ferguson comes in, Cammy Bell on a super scoreboard, trying to explain how it wasn't a penalty, wasn't bars. Well, to be fair to Cammy Bell, he would be in the goalkeeper union with Connor Goldson. So that's probably why he's trying to keep him out of heat there. But
Ange called that as well. He said,
yeah,
there's guys trying to think of reasons why it wasn't a penalty, and they're making up all these things. That for me tells me it was a penalty, because you're trying to think of reasons that it wasn't a penalty.
What do you think about the VAR room being mic'd up?
I don't know about that, but I think refs should. Sorry, Frank.
I was just saying I don't see why it needs to, because it doesn't seem to be happening down in England. I'm not going to say it happens in other leagues. I can't say I'm watching, but you don't see it in the Champions League. And obviously they're mic'd up between each other, but I don't see why they need to. I
don't think. Well, listen, we've not even got to the referees being mic'd up, so they're not going to mic up the VAR guys. First of all, we need to get that. It's difficult. Excuse me. It's difficult to do that because I think where it differentiates for rugby, in my opinion, is I don't think rugby referees find themselves swearing as much at rugby players as which referees would. I think football referees would swear at players because they swear at them and they get more irate and they're more in their face than a rugby player would.
Yeah.
And people will say, oh, well, rugby players are more respectful and all that. I think it's a different game because rugby is a more stop-start game for me. So they can accept the game stopping and starting more often. Whereas if the game stopping and starting the way Celtic play, it's trying to be fast-flowing, get the ball on the go all the time. I think the players would get frustrated with that if it was stop and starting all the time, and then you get the bad language and that coming across. It's difficult, and you can't exactly bleep it out when it's live. But I think if it's possible to get referees mic'd up, then I would be absolutely all for it. But whether it
is
would happen,
it's one of them,
I don't know.
Is trying to keep the game PG for family watching the game and stuff like that.
I think in the Premiership, certainly, when they're doing that sort of VAR check, they're obviously the refs and VAR team are obviously mic'd up, but then I think the commentators in the studio can hear that and they're allowed to broadcast some of it. Maybe we could go down that. Obviously, folk will still be like, well, the broadcasters will tell us what they want to hear, but at least it's a step in the right direction, I think, for me, if you're going down that route. But I'd be trying to acknowledge him before I start learning about that.
It was probably Willie Cullen going to John Beaton. I've booked us a table at the tavern after the match. They'll be getting this penalty here. They'll be getting this penalty kick.
Listen, we've spent a wee bit more time on that than I expected, but it's understandable. But I mean,
where does it stop? We know that Celtic are going to the SFA, and Postecoglou's basically confirmed that today. But what's the end point? And we all know we're paying the most, by the way, as a club for this VAR. So what's the end point for it? There has to be some sort of negotiation or solution. What is it? New referees or foreign referees again? Because this can't continue.
It can't continue. But I don't like this idea of foreign referees. I don't think it can work. It's got to cost probably too much money because they're not going to come in and be part-time. They'll want to be full-time, most likely. I don't know what the solution is, but they need to be. I just think there is a bias. It's evident more now than ever after VAR. Because it's not 1 or 2 or 3 decisions since VAR has come in. We're probably into the double figures now. I don't see any decision that Celtic, bar maybe the Livingston one, right, where they got the penalty, and they didn't really gain a lot out of it. The game was done. But I've heard Anthony saying if it was 1-1 or whatever, we wouldn't have got that decision. I don't know about that. It's a bit of conjecture that. But that is the only decision where it was maybe on the BAP and we got it. I don't recall any other decision if it came in. How many months has it been in now? 3-4 months maybe.
But you have to give it to him. Postecoglou done a really good thing in the way he worded this, because he could have came across from a Celtic point of view, but he pointed out this could happen in a relegation battle between St Mirren or Ross County. He didn't name them teams, but I'm just giving teams. And if a decision goes wrong, that team's relegated. So there needs to be consistency throughout the board, whether it's Beaton, Collin, Robertson, Welsh. It needs to be a consistent level of refereeing. The same rules at every game, not just picking and choosing what you're going to imply in a game. It needs to be set. You need to know what's going to happen, and you need transparency. But unfortunately, at the moment, we're getting fuck all that.
Here's one for you then. Sorry,
no, you go.
What do you think of the idea of Celtic saying, look, we'll foot the ball and get the system that England's got with VAR and all that, where it's about 20 odd cameras, and maybe say the SFA and that and all the other teams. Appreciate we'll be paying a lot more than what we're paying now, but it's one of the ones you maybe call their bluff, so to speak. Say, look, right, we'll pay and we'll get the best of the best in with the system.
But we've still got the same officials.
I get that, but then you've got more camera angles and things like that. Granted, I don't think I've seen a new camera angle yet.
No, I know, but
apparently I've got more cameras.
There is consistent. He's bang on. He's nailed it. He has nailed it. And by the way, we were talking earlier about, we'd said, obviously, there's maybe been discussions where they've thought, right, we should need to change this rule because we've we've given some penalties, that maybe were harsh, right? And I'm saying, well, they shouldn't change it midway through the season like they did with VAR anyway. But they shouldn't change it midway through the season because now Celtic and other teams like Livingston have had decisions given against them. And then if they've changed it and the Goldson one hasn't been given against them, it's no fair. But then you go back to I think it was Aberdeen, played Rangers at Ibrox, the Ben Davies one. That was before the possible discussions. No penalty. So, has the rule changed, or is it just us being paranoid, or are we seeing clear as day that there is bias?
When you have,
I don't know.
When you have the head of refereeing, Alan Crawford, come out saying it's going to be like a new signing for them. This VAR takes time to implement it. He's basically making excuses for the fuck ups that are going to happen. You cannot afford to put in a system that you're not 100% clued up in, because it affects results and in fact
bring it in early too.
Bring it at the start of the season, 100%. Get it involved in pre-season games.
Maybe come in after the World Cup, then they bring it in November. But said that we're not ready for it, but we're going to bring it in early.
He was all happy about it, and then given all these mysterious. Remember the offside goal? I think it was Jada Fair Park. They called it from the other side of the pitch. How can you do that?
I don't think Celtic. They maybe did have discussions privately, but I don't think they made a big enough deal about that way. Because was it not initially they said the camera that was meant to be focused on the 18-yard line was broken, and then I think Celtic question goes, well, how was it not working? What happened? Then they went, well, actually it was focused on the bench. It's like, well, what are you doing?
Must have took a photo, Alec Ray.
We're paying the most for this technology. It's meant to only be going on that line, and now you're telling me it's on the managers. Why? Why is it doing
exactly?
That? Like maybe they have been doing that privately behind closed doors, but I think it should have been a wee bit more public. Like, going, explain why the camera wasn't where it should be.
That was a shambles that night, wasn't it? Absolute shambles.
It was. Listen, I think we've spent enough time on that. We'll see what happens. Angie's addressed it. Hopefully Celtic are in meetings and we'll see what happens. But is it going to be fair? Is there going to be less bias? I will only hold my breath. But we'll move on. So I want to talk to these. I don't think we've, because of like the World Cup and stuff like that, I don't think we've spent much time on our new signings that we brought in. So Stephen, I'll come to you first. Obviously, Alistair Johnson, I think he was the first of the three that we've brought in. He made his debut, so we've seen him now. But I think he seems, on evidence of what I've seen so far, I think he seems quite dynamic like Juranovic, maybe more technical than Ralston. Do you think he could make left back his own with or without Juranovic being at the club and be the number one there over Ralston if Juranovic does leave?
Well, he's a right back.
Oh my God!
Said,
well, right back. It's because
to be fair,
because Juranovic was playing left back.
Totally
That's my
fine.
excuse. I'm sticking to it. But you know what I mean.
aye, Alistair Johnson. To be fair to that game, I thought he was excellent. And what epitomised this performance for me was the time they broke away in the second half at about 80th minute, and he sprinted and caught up with Sakala, and he literally left Juranovic trying to catch him up. He spread it right past him. He mapped up the play. And what I like about him as well, he's physical. I think he's over 6 foot. He's quick. He can play.
Is he that?
Aye. And according to his old team and stuff, he's played centre midfield like Juranovic. He's filled in at centre back, so there's plenty of variations you can play with him. And I like the fact that he's just a good engine. He's not blessed with massive amounts of pace over like 5 or 6 yards, but when he gets going, he's an absolute machine down the right hand side. And Ralston, he's going to be an understudy. We'll have to get used to it. He'll forever be an understudy. He won't be ever my first choice right back, never in a million years. And then that's what disappointed for me about Juranovic. And if his time's up, I know he's linked with Monza of the Serie A. Weirdly,
who's that?
The Monza of Serie A or something. Not the bank, not Monza.
Ralston's linked with him.
No, Juranovic. For round about
it's the latest one that's came out.
For a loan move and then an obligation to buy for like £7 million. It's a strange move. Like, and you're looking for these guys to progress in the career, but if you go down that route, then you're kind of putting yourself on a road to nowhere. But yeah, Johnson for me, he got a lot of quality, speaks well already. Celtic are using him in most of the media profiles at the minute, so he's fairly getting put about. And the only concerning thing, I know you're going to come on to Iwata and Kobayashi, but the only concerning thing for me at the moment is our squad size. Our squad's massive. For me, it's overbulked in some areas, and there needs to be a lot of trimming. Like McCarthy needs to go, Ideguchi needs to leave because he's obviously, if Iwata's coming in from Japan, that probably spells the end for him. Then need to do a lot of trimming in that squad. It's getting too big, and if you're trying to keep players happy, and you have over 35 players in the first team squad, that's a difficult task.
Listen, I don't disagree with that. I think in terms of guys like McCarthy, even maybe Ideguchi, it's a difficult window to get guys away as much as a difficult window to get guys in. Although Ange's proven that wrong by bringing the guys in before the window's even open. But I think you probably see guys like McCarthy, Ideguchi. They'll try and offload them this window, but if they can't, you might see it'll be the summer. But I think definitely it will happen. What we got, like, I think it's up to about 35 players in the squad. I'm not sure.
45 apparently.
45?
Apparently.
Really? I didn't think it was as much. That's a lot. But it will be trimmed. But I think you've seen them like bringing. Well, the evidence is there with Johnston. He's come in. Juranovic isn't away. He gets guys in before the guys that are going to leave. 42. My God, man, that's a fucking big squad. Like, definitely is. But listen, I think that will be trimmed. But Franny, just come to yourself in terms of Johnston. I don't know if you agree on like the references I made with the sort of dynamism of Juranovic and the technicality of Ralston. But what's your thoughts on his style for like one game for Celtic? And obviously he's we stint in the World Cup.
I mean, you're kind of basing it on really one game because I think it was after his first game at the World Cup. It seemed wee links came out about him. You maybe tried to catch some of the Canada games, but I don't think I seen another one after the first game. So yeah, kind of basing it off one game, and the guy can be really happy with his debut. I thought he performed really well. Could have been, hopefully not, but it could have just been going a bit of adrenaline and stuff, just carried him through that game. But I thought energy-wise, he's got plenty of energy. Like say, gets up and down the pitch. His recovery was really good. That one you're talking about, Stephen. I get what you're saying. He's not slow, but like it's over long distances. He's fast over long distances. He seems to keep that. It's not like 5 or 10 yards and he slows down. He just keeps on going and stuff. So energy-wise, he looks like similar to Ralston in that, where he's got a bit
He's
about
like
him.
Starfelt that way, isn't he?
He's just
Starfelt's
quick for long
over.
distances.
Aye,
Over
aye.
long distances and that. So I think it's definitely promising signs. Like you say, I don't think Juranovic, everything seems to be for him going away. I don't think he'll be hanging about. But as much as Juranovic had an absolute shocker the other day, like if you're first on all, you can only base it on what I've seen. But if that's your choices for right back for the rest of the season, I'm picking Juranovic every day of the week. You can't just. Everybody has a bad day at the office. Juranovic was
What? You're picking really?
Well, I can only base it on 18 months of Juranovic has been better for over 18 months than one game.
But we all know Juranovic is actively looking away from Celtic.
No, I appreciate that, but I mean, what I'm saying is, if he's not away by the end of the window, and that's your choices,
fair enough.
I'm saying Juranovic starts. I think he's a really, really good player. I know folk get on their high horse, but he played every minute apart for the third place playoff for Croatia. You didn't do that if you're a bad player. I'm not got to say
I get what you're saying there. I totally do.
I'm not saying Croatia's blessed with right backs. I don't know, but he's performing with Croatia and stuff like that. But I definitely had a stinker. I think he's not necessarily. I think he maybe has checked out a wee, but I think it didn't look committed the other day for me.
He played that game like I feel I would play that game.
Well, did you listen to Angie's full press conference today?
I've seen the quotes.
I've not caught any, to be honest with you, mate.
Well, he basically said if Greg Taylor wasn't fit for the start of that game, he'd have played Bernabei, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he just felt in that moment to throw Bernabei in and go up to the speed of the game was a big ask, and I had an international fullback who I gave a debut to last season in the same fixture. I felt I could, without any disrespect to Bernabei, he could trust him more. And I'm not saying, but I sort of alluded to that on Monday night.
No, I agree with you 100%. I'd have went JJ at left back.
100%. There's no one person would have sat there when Juranovic was getting stripped and went, fuck's sake, why are we not putting Bernabei on? Well, that's because you haven't got a clue. I'm not joking. I'm like,
I'll tell you why. Right?
Right, go for it, Steve.
You say there, and 100% right. I think we all agreed kind of unanimously that we would have put JJ on, right? Me trying to be a hard head, I would stick with Bernabei, but probably in the heat of the moment, you're throwing on your experienced player. I'll give you that. But after 35 minutes, he was having a stinker. And I would have been like,
don't waste a substitute, take him off and put Bernabei on, who you didn't trust 10 minutes ago.
You cannot have a passenger in that game, and he was a passenger, Ross. You can't deny that.
What do you do then? Do you take him off, go to a back three, or do you put Bernabei on to replace?
Well, you could have taken him off. You could have went to the back
World
three.
Cup finalist.
You could have.
So what do you do? I'm asking. What would you have done?
I think it was one of the ones.
Bernabei.
If Bernabei comes, I get what Stephen's saying. Maybe other fans are saying, like, bring Bernabei on, and it should. And on the face of it, the shape shouldn't really change massively. You've got a left back and at left back. I get all that, but then we're speaking with the benefit of hindsight. If Bernabei comes on, there's no guarantee he's got a good game. He could take a stinker, and then you're going, why did you not put Juranovic in? We've seen what
he's a natural left back, probably.
But that's what I'm saying. But I just
think the battle. He's not experienced.
I think we've seen him at Tynecastle. It didn't look great. Defensively, going forward, I don't think there's question marks over him going forward. Energy, no. I think defensively, there's question marks over him. And as we've seen the last sort of 10 to 15 minutes of that game, I think it was after he came on, but Rangers were kind of getting a wee foothold. They were getting a grip of the game, and that's I think that's another reason why Juranovic came on. It was one of the ones that just showed up the defence and played their way back into it. And I think it was Ross or Anthony said in Tuesday's one, you just kind of legislate for Juranovic in that type of game. No, I agree with that.
I get that, but I'm with you, Franny.
Bernabei could have came on and had an absolute stinker, and you're going to put your experience on.
See if he'd played Juranovic last season. Aye, but see if he'd played Juranovic last season at left back. So have I got this right? Left back, right back. At left back, right, in his debut, and he doesn't play well. He doesn't put him on, he puts Bernabei on.
Aye.
But he's got a guy there who's an experienced international who's done the job for him previously in that position at the same stadium. It's a no-brainer.
On his debut,
when everybody knows, including yourself, Stephen, that there's big question marks over Bernabei at Ibrox. Jed said it there. For me, I don't know. I think Freeze is a bit harsh, but
that
I
nails
think
it.
going forward, he's but.
Oh no, that was just ridiculous. That decision, mate.
That was mental. It's not the same as that because it's not the same as that at all for me. But
the reason why it annoyed me so much is because Starfelt lost a part of his game because naturally Juranovic is putting in the pitch. Greg Taylor stayed wide and received the pass from Starfelt, and having two right footers on the left hand side of the fence does not work. No matter how you try and paint it, how you try and dress it, it naturally doesn't work. And we've seen Juranovic try and play a 5-yard pass to made on about 2 separate occasions and put it on the pitch. So that's what happens when you. That's what happens when you do that.
Like you can't legislate for Juranovic.
But see if he brings Bernabei on and he performs defensively, which I believe he probably would have performed defensively, the same as Juranovic did. You'd be having the same conversation. Why they not put Juranovic on? Brought Bernabei on. He's never experienced that. Is that what Dave Ferguson said?
Nobody could legislate for Bernabei.
This is why we love football, because we all just make these points thinking we're right. Nobody's right. Nobody is right. There's so many variables, and it's all about opinion. But
we're football manager.
But see what you said as well. You could have went there back three if you were being really smart about it. But.
Mm-hmm.
You could have, but we've never really done that before. Are we going to do that at Ibrox and test that the first time? No, we're not. And the same as we're not going to test Bernabei for the first time at Ibrox. For me, I think Juranovic was the right decision. Without hindsight, he had a poor day, but he's not a bad player, and he's done the job for us.
How much would you and Darren go for?
Juranovic?
Yeah.
Well, it's funny, right? Because I think he's a really, really good player. I really do. I don't think, and this will no go down well, right? It won't, because I've had this argument so many times. I can't remember his name now. I forgot his name. He played at Rangers. Bassey, right? Bassey. For me, is a million times better than Juranovic. He is. He's a far better player. And what did he leave Rangers for? Was it 18, 20 million?
I think 18 rising to 20 odd million.
Right. He is, in my opinion, far, far better than Juranovic. If Celtic got £12 million for Juranovic, 12 to fit there, we'd be doing amazing business. We will only get 20 for him because he's not that good. He is good. He's very good. But he's not as good as some people make it, and he's not as bad as other people make it.
I thought this cough was making me delirious. It really. I
kind of agree with that. Like, I mean, I'm a massive Juranovic. Like, I've got to be really silly and say I think we should be asking upwards. I think we should be asking like upwards of 25 million, just based on his World Cup. Just based on, like, I know it's.
This is true, by the way. This is true.
I've not seen him. Well, I've not seen him this season for Ajax, but on the evidence what I've seen at Rangers, Bassey a better player than Juranovic.
That's because he was on steroids.
I could be talking mince, but a lot of people will be saying I'm talking mince because he's an ex-Rangers player.
I would be looking. I think Celtic, like realistically, I think 12 to 15 is probably what we'll get. I say
that's the ceiling.
But I think it's as stupid as me it sounds after me saying that. I think we should be looking upwards of the Tierney money, just simply on his World Cup form. Folk get silly moves off the World Cup, so I think we should maybe start there and just see where we go. And like you look at Nathan Patterson, who I think has got the potential to be a really, really class player. Here's me and Ross both got to big up Rangers players here. Now I think he had under 50 games under his belt. I appreciate he's a lot younger than Juranovic. It's a potential. But I think they got 12 rising to 16 million for that. Now, we've got an established guy at peak years
Mhm.
I don't know. He's got plenty of caps for Croatia. It is their first choice right back and stuff. So he's like first choice at that club, at that level and stuff. So I think you should be looking above the Patterson money. But then it's.
Can I tell you something?
Really?
Can I be?
No, I think they should
I
just
think
based on
Patterson's
that.
better.
No, I do. I think Patterson
Can I,
is better, but I think you
Aye.
should be when you break it down. Like I know I'm not going to try and pretend how transfers work, but if you look at it going, well, Patterson has had about 50 games as a professional. Eyes, what, maybe 20, 19, 20. Juranovic has had, I don't know, hundreds of games. Internationalist, plays right back for his country. Peak years. I think you should be looking above that. I think we need to start pricing the players a wee bit better. But I think, I'm with you, I think if we're doing 12 to 15, I think we're
Franny,
doing pretty all right with it.
I agree, right?
As silly as that
But
sounds. Because I
there's
think we should be
one
asking for a
thing.
lot more.
There's one thing. Fitzy comes in. Ross knows a player. There's one thing that comes to mind. A lot of the fees I've seen banded around for Juranovic seems to be between £6 and £10 million. I don't know if there's a clause inserted, in his contract, because this Italian club are offering the season loan deal with the obligation to buy for €7 million, which doesn't seem right for me unless it's in his contract, unless it's there that he can leave for a certain amount of money. Then maybe that's why, and that's why Celtic probably tried to get a new deal for him. That's collapsed, and that looks like he's going
to. That makes sense, Stephen.
Because if he's looking at it and then they're going, look, we want to maybe put a £20 million buy it clause in it, he's going, I don't know if somebody's got to pay that for me.
So why are we hearing Chelsea and Atletico Madrid and Barcelona? Because he is there. There's absolutely no way he is at that level. You look at
the Chelsea one.
No, I was just going to say you look at Kieran Tierney, right? He left Celtic for 25 million. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Arsenal were the only suitors. And you look at Juranovic, right? I know it's a number of years later, but there's seemingly more suitors looking at him off the back of a couple of good games at the World Cup. It does, but it shouldn't elevate you like that.
I agree.
Kieran Tierney, Juranovic isn't in the same stratosphere as Kieran Tierney.
I agree.
No,
I 100%
agree with that.
agree.
So how is he getting linked to these clubs? It's bizarre.
No, Ross,
I know Barcelona are not the club they were and all the rest of it, but
Ross, see if you take it away and actually look at it properly, right? Barcelona have major financial difficulties, so that the aspiration for them to bid 15-20 million out the window unless it's a player they really want. The Monza team are only going to offer a loan deal, and then there's Espanyol in La Liga. Espanyol are not going to spend 15 million in JJ. So the facts that are going around saying about 6 to 10 million is starting to make a bit more sense for me, because it looks like there's a clause in his contract.
But there must be, because the gap between what you're talking about, Stephen, and the Barcelonas, the Atleticos, it's huge. There's nothing in between.
So I think like your Chelsea's and Barcelona's are
is right
in the sense that if there is something between like 6 and 10 million to pay for him, Chelsea have obviously, like Reece James is injured, and then they've also like got Aspilicueta and stuff. So it's maybe like we know 8 million is absolutely peanuts down in England, absolute peanuts. So if it is like 6 to 10 million, they probably going, well, we get a decent enough right back that'll do till Reece James comes back for under 10 million. That's nothing to us. So for that point, I can understand if there is truth in the Chelsea one, the Barcelona one. I don't know who they're. I think Hector Bellerin's there. I don't know who else is there. And obviously, they're in financial difficulty and things like that. So if they're going, well, again, we can get a decent enough right back for the squad for under that money.
And again, that pays to the
clause in it.
The clause.
I think that's how some of these teams are involved, because it's like, well, he has had a good World Cup. If he has a good 12 to, well, maybe 20 odd games for us, we can maybe make maybe sell him on again.
Aye. By the way, I can't believe how much we've digressed. We've spent on this. We're 45 minutes in. I don't know what the fuck.
By the way, well, to answer your question,
even by the first.
To answer your question, Ross, Johnson looked good on what I seen on Monday. Kobayashi in the water. I don't know.
I am now why
Also,
talking
by
about
the
them.
way,
We'll just go right to the who am I.
the right back Hector Berlin, he's come out and publicly stated his wage matches about 500 grand a year, so they can't pay big money, and JJ will be in that bracket like 100%.
Is that what he was on at Barcelona?
He's on it right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Wow! I can't even
Criminal,
believe he's
eh?
at Barcelona.
Criminal.
Never mind what he's on.
No, that's
But-
a year. That's not a lot of years, Ross. I mean, that's a lot of year, but for that level of player, I think.
Oh, I thought he meant a fucking week.
No.
What?
No.
What did you say?
$500,000 a year?
Oh right,
Half a
sorry.
million a year.
Aye, that's not that
About
much.
10
Right?
grand or something, isn't it?
But anyway, right, we'll move on because I've just made a tit of myself there. But
By the way, see, speaking of signing, I'm desperate for us to sign this Cho boy, the South Korean. Don't know why. Just want.
the striker.
He's-
Aye.
Yeah, I agree.
Out of the three that's been mentioned, I can't mind the names, but out of the three that's been
By the way,
mentioned,
I've got the names.
Actually, I
Want to
would
hear me try
be
and pronounce them?
Go
Go
for
for
it.
it.
That's
My
a
God.
good.
So the first one
Because-
is a midfielder who's 21, and apparently Celtic have fallen in love with him because he's like
Is
6
that
foot
Al
2.
Massi or something?
the Norwegian
No.
guy.
Kwan Hyuk Ki,
Oh,
right? He's the
right, I think you're
midfielder.
talking about.
Mhm.
Striker is a 21-year-old, by the way, he can play in the wing and through the middle, is Oh Hyung Dui. And then the other striker
Oh, he looks
is
a big bully boy, eh?
that's the smaller guy, like the winger
Ah.
striker. And then the main guy who you were saying is Cho Gi Sung.
Aye.
That was good. How good was
But
that?
I mean, I can't say if it's right or wrong because I don't know any of the names.
It's
So
the
we'll
guy
go,
that's
it's
got two
good.
against Ghana, man. I don't know. I've just based on zero evidence of what I've seen of the guy. I'm desperate for us to sign him.
If
I
you're
know-
scoring a
I know
World Cup,
why-
you're
I
scoring
know
in
why
the
you-
SPL.
You want him for the same reasons I do, because he's big, and if he comes in, he's replacing Gigi, like for like.
Aye, I would
That in
rather
your
keep Gigi.
in your
Aye,
head.
in my
Oh,
head,
What a
aye.
of
like,
course you would.
what a like,
Well,
Ross.
well,
What a
listen.
like. I love it.
We'll get on to that, by the way, but that's not a link yet because we're about 4 hours away from that kid. I was going to come on to Kobayashi next. I can't believe how long we've spent on that. It's absolutely outrageous. But Kobayashi.
Kobayashi.
Aye.
You'll not do any fellas this week, Ross.
Aye, I know. Like, what is it though? Every time I host, it just like goes.
It's
Away
great,
to
mate.
hell.
Keep it going.
Like I had it in my head, and I
Happy.
was like, "Oh, that what I'd kind of planned out." It was like, "Oh, I'll be easy an hour, man. That's sound." Maybe fucking hour of the noon, not even by the first bit. But anyway, love it. So, Franny, I'll come to you. Kobayashi. He's similar in stature to Jens, in my opinion. He's got a good range of passion.
Maybe his.
Passion.
Oh,
Maybe his.
He's
will
got a
find
good
out.
range.
Did he have a date night?
Hey, he's in
Oh,
like
he's
me,
not a
but
bad looking boy.
passion boy. But he's got a good range of passing, and he seems to like that sort of pass over the top into the channels.
Mhm.
I'm only going off YouTube, of course, but it's that one that, like, say, a Maeda would like, a Jota would like. It's over the top. It would bring a different dynamic to the way we attack. But I mean, obviously yourself going off of YouTube, what's your sort of impression of him?
It's exciting. Again, it's one of these ones you've kind of got to trust. You've got to trust Angie knows that market well and stuff. he knows
Good
that
guy,
market
good guy.
well, and I came in for a free, so it's a bit risk free in the fact that he's what is he 21, 22 or something. The boy.
Mm.
And
something like that.
what I thought was interesting was it was all when we signed him. I think Celtic tweeted it was a left-sided centre half, so it was almost where Jens has kind of been filling in. So I don't know if that was a wee hint to Jens to say, like, well, we're probably not making that deal permanent. I don't know. I mean, I've never ever heard how much it would cost. Whether that's been, I don't know if it's ever been said that we've got an option to buy us. I would assume we have the way Ange seems to work the sort of loan market. It's either with obligations to buy or with he's already agreed the fee in it. And I don't know if he's maybe the fees maybe 4 or 5 million. He'd get Jens in permanent. He's maybe going.
I thought Kobayashi had already. Was he not in a 5-year deal? Is that not what you're?
No, I'm saying with Jens because Jens seems to be filling.
Oh,
in
sorry,
at
right.
sort
Aye.
of left centre half.
Apologise.
seemed to make a point of saying Kobayashi's coming in at left centre half, and is it maybe they've thought, well, Ange knows that market better, it's a freebie, whereas Jens has maybe got to cost us 4 or 5 million, and maybe, like, I do like Jens, I think he looks a good enough player, but maybe he's not really winning over the manager, Postecoglou. He wasn't even on the bench on Tuesday, but maybe that's down to injury, I don't know. So it's maybe just one of the ones, but it's like all the sorts of guys that have got to come for the Asian market. I'm excited for them because it's just based on what we've got for Maeda, Kyogo, Hatate and things like that. And it's just when Ange is bringing these guys in, it gives you a wee bit excited because, well, like you say, we're going on YouTube, not got to claim I've seen a minute of the guy playing, so I'm excited to see what he could do, but I think it maybe points to we've maybe not got to keep Jens.
Well, listen, I totally agree with that, and it was sort of what I was going to say to Stephen next. You've stepped all over that, but that's fine. No, but listen, I've seen Alistair saying there in the comments, Jens, 4 or 5 million, whatever. I think.
Happy birthday, Chris! Thanks for tuning in from Melbourne.
Happy birthday, Chris! Thanks for listening.
On the beach.
I noticed Alistair there saying Jens. I think he said 4 or 5 million. Correct me if I'm wrong. No, for me. I understand what he's saying. It's a big outlay, and I mean we've all seen the comments about Jens. Right, don't we? Maybe it's the wing. No, but we've all seen the comments about Jens. O'Reilly had obviously he was wanting to come. Apparently, Ange had wanted him the year before. We don't know which, but for me, I really like Jens. I think he's I don't think he's a better defender than Star. I don't think he's a better out and out defender than Starfelt. But I think for the way, what is it?
Before it was that boy's birthday, he was saying it was 30 degrees.
Oh, well
happy birthday whenever it comes, Chris. You're welcome.
We're 30 degrees, bunch of roasters. But lost what I was saying. Jens. I don't think he's a better out and out defender than Starfelt, but for me, I think the way we play, I've said it numerous times that I think he suits it better. I trust him more, and I would have Jens in before Starfelt. I think Monday was evident on that, in my opinion. But bringing Kobayashi in, Stephen, on a 5-year deal, like Franny said, it does sort of look like we won't keep him on. And did they come in for Angie's former team, or was it the other one that he always brings them in for? So it was the other team. Yeah. He knows the guy. I don't know if he knows Jens as much before he brought him in, but do you think maybe he's brought Jens in on a sort of recommendation for O'Reilly, but not just like, oh, O'Reilly said he's all right, so I'll just bring him in. Obviously, he's done his homework and stuff, but he's brought him in last season because he couldn't get maybe Kobayashi, who he wanted. And now he's got him in. He knows him better. Do you think that's maybe sort of line of thinking?
Well, I mean, it's interesting. I think I seen Jens on an interview literally about a couple of weeks ago saying he's trying to make the move permanently to Celtic in the French newspaper. And now obviously all this is developed with Kobayashi. Maybe it's the outlay of the transfer fee. And again, there's that point to the stinginess of the board executives. You don't really know because they're still doing business. They're still bringing in transfers and stuff. And if you have the likes of Kobayashi, Starfelt, Carter Vickers, and maybe he wants to keep Welsh for the homegrown status, and then you don't want a fifth centre half. Maybe Jens is the one that has to miss out. I really like Jens. I think he's both-footed, which is a bit unusual for a centre half, and he can bring the ball out really well. It takes that pressure off Vickers, especially when Starfelt can't really do it. So Vickers, it's all on him. But when Jens plays, it seems like he can bring it into midfield, break up the play, can even take a player on, which is quite good to see. But what I think the future is going to be with Kobayashi, he's left-footed. He'll fit in, and I think the way Postecoglou wants the two centre halves to be, maybe he's looking for Kobayashi to be that first choice next season alongside Vickers, and Starfelt being the understudy to Vickers and Kobayashi for a start. But with the ends, I like him too, Ross. I think he's good. He's had a couple of dodgy moments, but I mean, it's a bit interesting. If I don't let Welsh go, then 4 centre halves. But and obviously the interest in Welsh from other clubs is will he leave? But yeah, Jens for me should stay. I think having a good pool of centre halves is, especially for Europe next season, is good to choose from. And Kobayashi just getting used to the Scottish game. And I'm going to say something here that might go down like a lead balloon, much like yourself. Let's compose ourselves.
Oh, that did. Just say it. Let's be controversial.
But I wanted McCough to go away before I said it. But hold on, actually. I think it's a bit concerning. Now, I love it at the same time, but it concerns me in the amount of players we're signing from Japan. And I know it maybe sounds. Franny gets it. I know you're on the same wavelength, my Deadly Joe partner there. But I mean, I just think the balance of the team, and I always think, what if Postecoglou leaves? What are we going to do with these players? What are we going to do if they don't sell? And then if they want to leave, and 6 players, possibly 7 now, if Iwata coming in, we haven't got rid of Edeguchi, the balance is a bit rough for me, like, to be honest. And I love the caliber of player. I know it sounds so contradicting myself, but 7 players from Japan doesn't sit well with me. It really doesn't.
I know what you're saying, but listen, we hope that Ange is going to be here for a while. We don't know if he will, but listen, he knows these players. He's here to do a job for our club, and he's here to do it at the best of his ability. And if he thinks bringing in guys that he is well versed with and knows, and he signs we've said it before, he signs the man and the player. He knows these guys. I trust him because he's my favourite ever Celtic manager he's not on the field, but on the field in terms of the way he sets his team out, and off the field. I messed up. But listen, I trust Ange. If he wants to bring these guys in, I believe that it's the right way to go. I totally get your reservations. I've never looked at it like that, Stephen, but I totally understand where you're coming from. And
so I was just going to say what Jed says, like, as much as I get what Stephen's saying, like, I kind of on it where seems to, you could argue, is it been lazy? I don't think it's been lazy as much as a wee bit concerns me how he's signing a lot of Japanese players, but it's the market he knows. He's managed most of his career in Japan. You see it with, for argument's sake, if a Dutch guy came in for the area division, he's probably going to sign guys
look
for
at
Dutch league.
What's the Ten Hag?
Ten Hag, he's gone signing guys for, maybe not necessarily all Dutch, but he's signing guys for that league.
Aye.
It's just so hard. So I think that's maybe how you.
Just to clarify, I've nothing against Japanese signings.
No, I totally get what you mean. I get what you mean, Stephen.
I love our Japanese. I love them. And to be honest, fuck it. Football's a universal language. Forget what I said. Scrap it. Doesn't matter.
I get what you're saying, but I think also.
Right, listen, I need a pee. I'm going to let you continue this chat, and I'll get a wee pee while you're. I think
what you've got to look at is
while you're calming Stephen down.
Managers tend to go back to where they've managed a lot of their career. So I think that's maybe one of them. But I do understand what you mean by it, because recently I've been like, seem to be going back to the Asian market again. Seem to be going there. But I suppose when you look on the face of it, the four that we've got, well, obviously Iwata and Kobayashi are in. But obviously we've not seen Kobayashi and Iwata, so I'll give them a pass now. But 3 out of 4 have all been pass marks so far. So in that sense, it's a good ratio from that market, I guess. And you're getting good deals, but I do get what you're saying.
I think this is interesting from Patrick. It'll be interesting to see how those Korean and Japanese players blend together. And Egyptian King, Stephen, you're banned from entering Japan. Nothing at all. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's the balance.
Mate,
I do like
you're overthinking this.
I do like a bit of Scottish players. I'm not going to lie. I like a bit of Scally's contingent. I know we still have it, but I like it when there's a few Scally's players in there and representing Celtic and young players. Like Brian Warrior, I think is as I say, wavelength it myself. Likes it Bosun Lowell coming through, Rocco
It's a strange
Fada.
guy.
What?
Because was he not like voted Academy Player of the Season at Watford
Yeah.
when we signed him?
Yeah, good physical presence. Like he's looked good when he's come on. Like, and then you have young Rocco Fada who represents
Who's that
Ireland.
other
He
boy?
seems a decent player.
Oh man, his name's centre half, but I think he played it right back a few times for us. I think he's over
For
in
us?
I think he's over in that Austinstead now.
Iragide.
Aye, is he still your player? Or is he
Gone.
away? Is he actually
He's
gone?
away.
Alright. Forget I asked that.
But
Small world
I want
between Man
them.
United and
I want the
I
young.
thought he was still their player, so.
I want the young players to see that pathway.
Well, that's
Do
what
you
I
know
was
what I mean?
meaning. The young players, but turns out I'm trying to get a young player that's not even a player anymore.
Not
in
even
the
a part
team.
of our team, probably. So that was pretty shit. But I
What
mean,
have I missed?
I want.
What have I missed?
What I'm
We're
saying
just
is,
talking about trying to get. Well, somebody brought up about Boston Law, and I was like, "Oh, it's kind of strange that one because I think he was Academy Player of the Year." Then it got to, I was like, "Who's the other centre half?" And I was like, Uri, and it turned out it was Urigide. And then I was like, "Oh, I wonder if he'll come back because he seems to have been doing all right." Aaron Belgium seems like but by Celtic, but it's like all right. I'm
and
trying
then
to get guys up.
I'm saying,
I'm trying to get guys a pathway into the team that aren't even our players.
what I'm saying is,
Neymar's not a pathway.
I want the academy players to look at the squad and think, I could break in there. So I want that to happen, but sometimes
I think as much as
it just seems
this is
that's
total
not
gone
happening.
off topic for Ross's topics, and I'm trying not to go too much. I think the problem, as much as initially I was happy with the Highland, the Lowland League, I think it's the worst thing. The standard's no good they're playing against.
Listen,
Yeah, I agree.
I get what you're saying, Stephen, and people are. I'm with you, Franny. I get you. You would love it. You would love to see guys coming through like James Forrest, Cal McGregor, even guys further back, Sean Maloney, Aidan McGeady. You would love to see guys coming through like that and make an impact on the team. But make an impact on the team like that. But if they're no there, and I don't believe they are at this moment in time, but I mean that again is
mate, that's
it's a different landscape. The football's a different landscape now.
We gave him a chance. We showed him a pathway.
Aye. And by the way, it's so much easier to see these players now because you don't even need to go and watch them in person. You can see them from afar. So it's easier to get them. It's easier for clubs like Liverpool to go and get these guys. And these guys like Ben Doak are not going to turn it down. They're not going to. It's too big an opportunity, and he's thriving at Liverpool. And it's a better youth system. It's no Celtic's fault, but it's just the way it is. I don't know, man. But if there's Kieran Tierney was the last one, correct me if I'm wrong, that has came through and properly made the grade, and he was a law in himself. He was just above even your McGregors, your McGeadys, your Ford. He's the next level again. That's why he's made that. You can't ignore him.
What you've got to remember as well, like I'm not saying try to use it, but I think like it's a mad statistic that only everybody that tries to become a football player, it's like 4% or something actually make it professional. You've not got a big pool of players to actually pick for to come through. But anyway, that's total way off topic. That is way off topic.
I know, it was mega way off topic. I'm going to have to cut this. But right, we'll move on to our third signing, Iwata. Getting that right, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it right?
Yeah.
I don't know, mate.
No, it's Iwata.
All right, Iwata. Right, Stephen, will come to you. He's a defensive midfielder, but Ange said in an interview that he can play a couple of different positions, which I'm absolutely raging that he said, because I've dealt with Franny previously. Managers don't sign guys just based on that they can play a couple of different positions, and how fucking stupid do I look now? But anyway, we'll move on for that. He can play a couple of different positions. I'm assuming that'll be the 6 or the 8. It might be something else, but I'm assuming that. But would you agree firstly, for the clips I've seen, he looks to be someone similar to a Hatate in terms of how he gets around the pitch. Would you agree with that?
Well, I think when you listen to them Japanese journalists when they're on different podcasts I've watched, and they say one thing about him is his recovery speed, and he's very, very quick across the ground, which is good because in Europe we got outdone a million times on counter attacks, and if he can fill that void and kind of recover in time to stop them counter attacks, and I'm all for that. And you said it for multiple positions. Apparently, he can also play right back, which is quite interesting. So we'll possibly have another option there if any injuries do occur to Johnson or Ralston, which is good. And then you look at Cal McGregor's situation. Cal McGregor, captain, fantastic. He needs a rest. So if he can play that sixth role and give the captain a rest for 1 or 2 games here and there, 100% all for that. And the reason why I laughed at you saying Iwata is because the amount of jokes that I've seen made from his name, and it just comes flashing into my mind every time someone says it. But MVP player of the year for Japan, most valuable player in Japan, played for Postecoglou's old team under Kevin Muscat. Remember, he was like for us for assistant.
Was it
Postecoglou? That didn't go down too well, but I'm excited by him. He looks quite physical too. He has a bit of build about him. He's ready for European football, and Postecoglou actually signed him for his old team, so he's obviously been keeping an eye on him. And they tried to sign him last season, but he didn't want to because they already signed a player from Yokohama, so there's a bit of sportsmanship there. So if that's his man and he's in the door, I'm buzzing. And if he's anything like Hatate, then Jesus, hold me to my chair because I'm strapped in and ready for a raid. Let's go.
100%, mate. And by the way, Postecoglou has alluded to the fact that he actually wanted to get him in. I think it was last January. Might be wrong, but I think he said it was last January. But he'd already took the other three who were. Who was it? Hatate. Who did we get again? Ideguchi. Aye, and Ideguchi, and he was like, "That it's a bit." It was like, "I'll leave it at that." It was a bit like if Rodgers came to Celtic and took McGregor. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? And we'd all be up in arms. But I think we're understandably more up in arms, or we would be understandably up in arms because we're a bigger club than Leicester, whereas these guys are leaving the Japanese J League to come to Celtic, to Europe, so it's a bit different. As much as he's raiding the team, the guys are going on to better things, whereas they're going to Leicester, it might not be. But Franny, come to yourself. Stephen sort of alluded to his dynamism, he's similar to Hatate and stuff like that. That was my thinking of the YouTube clips. Again, off the YouTube clips, it looks like he's got a decent strike on him, which is handy, especially if you're playing in games where teams, which we get a lot, they're sitting deep, 10 men behind the ball, 2 banks of 4, whatever it is. You're struggling to break them down. John is a big advocate. John, he's a big advocate. Taking shots from outside the box, and I totally get it. If you've got a player in your team that can do that, it's a big weapon, especially with what we're faced at times. But I mean, just obviously on that sort of way. I mean, just what you think. I don't know if you've watched him on YouTube, but just what you think, sort of what he could bring to the squad.
I've not had a chance to see in the YouTube, but John will be buzzing if he can take a shot from outside the box, and he'll be even more buzzing if he can actually hit a free kick, because John's desperate for something that can hit a free kick too. Because it seems a while since we've had one of them, in fairness to the boy.
But I will jot as one at Bernabeu, but not the regular, but carry on, sorry.
But I get what you're saying as well. Like, if he can, obviously he's not just signed to take fucking shots from outside the box, but I get what you're saying. Obviously, teams sitting in, then if you've got a guy that's got a shot on him, teams then maybe need to come out and engage him. That then opens up that space for your Kyogos, Giacomakis, if he's still there, and behind, and maybe whoever's playing out wide will open up the space there and then you can play the cross across and things. So it just gives you another sort of a way to play the system. Another guy who's a wee bit different. and just another option, so to speak. But as much as like me and Stephen sort of had our reservations with maybe more Japanese boys coming in, when you're if on the basis of obviously I'll keep Kobayashi out it because the guy's just in the door, but the 4 guys apart from Kobayashi and Iwata that's came in, 3 out of 4 have all been really good, really successful. And then we're now signing the guy that was the player of the season. Obviously, the season after they've left, you can only but be excited about that. And if you are telling me going by the YouTube clubs, he's got a bit of Hatate about him, then if Hatate wasn't the best player in the league and this guy is, and they look the same men, and we've got him for, I think it's been rumoured around about £1 million or something. It looks like we've just got another absolute steal. So again, it's another one I'm excited about, just simply because based on the Japanese players we've seen already coming in, and this guy's been voted player of the season in that league. So exciting signing.
100%. I sometimes laugh when I hear like Ange or whoever it is saying that we're signing a defensive midfielder, because like we play a midfield 3. I don't think any of them are defensive midfielders on paper. It's weird, and
I think Iwata's for Europe though. For Europe, I think he'll be vital.
Well, that's what I was sort of coming on to, Stephen. I totally agree with you there, but it's difficult to say without properly seeing him. We'll be able to tell that more, I think, in the coming months. But right now, I look at it and I'm like, he doesn't sign defensive midfielders. He signs midfielders who can each take a turn at playing that 6 role. But for the most part, we're going to be in the front foot in Scotland. But like Stephen says, and I fully agree with him, I think we need to sign a guy like that. I hope he is this guy, because we need that for Europe next season, where we're inevitably, hopefully, going to be in the Champions League next season again. But just moving on, in terms of, obviously,
talking about, all right, you got to talk about Alistair Johnson. Go then.
No, carry on.
I was just going to say, Alistair Johnson is absolutely the white Tiger Woods.
Oh my God.
You probably got off on the Bhoys bus.
I know, but he is, because I heard him say it and I looked up and I was like, that is absolutely Tiger Woods, sir.
Yes, aye. At the way he talk, aye. Totally agree with that, aye. Who called that in the bus?
I think it was Bhoys.
Was it Russell? No way, man.
It was.
I'm only joking. I like it.
Sally's on fucking rewind and all the fucking 90s quotes.
I know. Club that one off my notepad.
No, but see, in terms of, obviously Alistair Johnson's made his debut, but in terms of Kobayashi and Iwata, I think Ange alluded to Iwata's just here, so it might be a bit longer. But come to both of you, Stephen, you first. When do you think we'll maybe see Kobayashi? Maybe not so much Iwata because of off the back of what Ange said today, but do you think we'll maybe see Kobayashi maybe the cup game against Kilmarnock, or just ease him in slower than that?
Just get me a wee sec. We're playing Morton soon, aren't we? Is it Great Morton?
Kilmarnock.
This
weekend we're playing Kilmarnock in the Scottish Cup the following weekend.
Hold on a wee second here.
Scottish Cup. The League Cup, sorry, you're right, Franny.
I think we play Morton in the Scottish Cup, I think you're right.
Aye. I think we will see him
Could be that,
on the 20. We'll see him on the 21st of January against Great Morton. Kobayashi will start. And I think in that game as well. Yeah. I think in that game as well, Iwata will start. That's when I think we'll see them. I think Kobayashi getting a sub appearance will happen in tomorrow's game.
And what about yourself, Ryan? What do you think of
that? It makes sense. Totally makes sense.
Aye. Listen, I'd actually forgot with Drew Morton. I was thinking the Kilmarnock game, but I think he's nailed it. It's not many times in the last 3 years he's nailed it, but I think tonight is one of those, and we'll put your flag in the ground, kid, like Soonest did at Galatasaray.
Let me put that out there, big chief.
Nah, listen. You're bang on, I think. Listen, we're going to move on to the next one, which is the Sakala fist pump.
Fucking
he
only
was
got there.
He was down. I've seen online a lot of anger towards this. For me, Steve, is it misplaced, Stephen, or is it justified?
It made me angry just merely because of what club he plays for. That's all.
Aye, but taking that out of the equation and having the proper head on, the proper football head on, is it misplaced or is it justified what he done?
Well, I mean, celebrating getting the penalty, every team does it, don't they? Every player celebrates when they get a penalty kick. But the way he done it looked really sneaky, as if he knew that it was a borderline, maybe not a penalty, but I'm still on the same mindset, Ross, that it was on Tuesday, that I think it was a penalty kick because Starfelt was just a stupid idiot and gave Beaton every chance to point at the spot. He's laying on the ground, he's heard the whistle, and he's went. I was fuming, obviously seeing it and that type of stuff. But again, it's because of what club he plays for. I think if it was one of our players and he done it, we'd be calling him a legend.
Aye,
I mean, so.
aye. Well, that's it. I look at it, right, and totally agree with you. If it was a Celtic player, it was down like that, all these guys that were going, I've seen it. There's millions of them on all different groups, Facebook groups and whatever. They're all going after nut, calling him a rat, all the rest of it. The guy goes down, he's fouled. First of all, in my opinion, he's fouled. He goes down and he does what any good striker would do, and he feigns injury. It's biling, it's roasting patter, right? But he feigns the injury to sway the referee that bit more towards his side, because the referee will look at it and go, he's injured, he must have been not, right? So he does that, he feigns the injury, and it's no right, but it's what every striker almost everywhere does. And then when he realises he gets the penalty, he does the fist pump, right? And it's annoying to watch because it's a Rangers player, like you say, Stephen. But I would understand the annoyance and the rage if he dived. He doesn't dive. He's fouled. It's a penalty kick.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking.
That's
at
where it ends for
here,
me.
and every single one of them. I'll start with, let's see, Paul Dat. His sneaky celebration just shows he was playing for the pen and it come off. David, no way that was a penalty kick. Anthony didn't think it was a penalty.
Come on, man. Come on, guys.
I think it was a penalty. P. O'Neill, Ross talking, Barry.
Right, I'm going to explain to you why I think it was. If you didn't watch him Monday night, I'm going to explain again. I know you do. I know. I'm going to explain and back myself up why I think it was a penalty again if you didn't see it on Monday night. Sakala beats Juranovic, then he's running towards the ball. Starfelt slides towards the ball, out of control, right? He doesn't get the ball. Sakala chops the ball inside before Starfelt can get there. And Sakala's natural movement is to put his foot on the ground to come back inside Starfelt because he's already beat him. He's took the ball inside him. Starfelt can't get the ball. He's already beat him. He plants his foot. Is it Sakala's fault that where he's naturally going to put his foot is where Starfelt slides at the same time? For me, no. So it's absolutely a penalty because Starfelt goes where Sakala is naturally going. Starfelt goes out of control where Sakala is naturally going. It's a penalty kick. If you didn't think it's a penalty kick, it's because you've got green glasses on.
You're talking about
and I wear green glasses a lot.
Natural body position and momentum takes Sakala to Starfelt's foot. Therefore, Starfelt's making that movement. He's fell over.
It's a coming together, but Sakala's movement is natural. Starfelt's is out of control, and that's why it's a penalty.
What do you think, Franny?
No, I agree. I think obviously I kind of missed what you said, but I think you were kind of saying what I noticed Brian Warrior's comment we said, and I think it's what you were touching on, that Starfelt's came lunging in, and it's Sakala's foot's only got one place to go, and it just so happens it is on top of Starfelt. Starfelt is where Sakala's got to put his foot. I know it does look like he's
I'm balanced. I'm just trying to be balanced.
I think I've totally.
See, but sorry,
it's a penalty. I
go
totally
back to shit. I forgot his name.
Warrior.
No.
Was it Kaiser?
Your legends, Kaiser.
Aye.
He played for the Pen. Player made contact with Starfelt. Right? He is, and what he's saying there, he's right to an extent. Sakala played for the Pen.
Mm-hmm.
He takes the ball inside him and plays for the Pen. There's contact, right? And it's enough contact for him to go down because it's not enough contact for him to go down the way he did, but it's enough contact for him to go down because his planting foot gets took away from him. I don't know how you can say it's not a penalty. It's mental.
We'd be let's be honest. Everyone in the comments, we'd be calling for it.
I hate Rangers. I'm just going to go on record and say I hate Rangers, and I want us to get every single decision against them. Mm-hmm. But also, if we're asking VAR to be fair and be balanced, then we have to be balanced, and I'm trying to be balanced here and say that was a penalty kick.
I think what people are looking at is the fact that Sakala does stand on Starfelt and they're going, well, he stands on him, so it can't be a penalty.
But it's coming together, eh? It's coming together.
I think they're actually choosing to ignore the fact that Sakala's making he's doing a skill, so to speak, but if you want, he's making a step forward and his foot's got to go somewhere, and it just so happens that Starfelt slid in and then his legs there. Well, his
it was Starfelt's fucking poor choice of defending.
Starfelt shouldn't have went. If Starfelt doesn't go to ground and Sakala chops inside him, right? Mm. He might get inside him, he might put the ball across. But he goes to ground and he stops Sakala by having that opportunity to do that because he's already beat him. Mm-hmm. So in going to ground and sliding, he stops Sakala from having the opportunity to play the ball into the box or have a shot. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's a penalty for me all day long. Anyway, we could go on about that all day. I'm getting pelters all night because I'm being sound and being balanced. That's fine. We'll move on.
I agree with what you were saying about Sakala as well with the celebration. It's just been an idiot, isn't it?
But it's
I think a wee bit of him was obviously feigned the injury because he's like, I'm off penalty, so to speak. And then he's realised, I've got a penalty, so I'm cheering. But shit, I better pretend to still be injured here.
Right, picture this. Right, this is the last thing I'll say on it. Right,
picture this. The picture round.
No, but picture this. Right, Kyogo. No, Kyogo. Abada, right, because he's the right winger. He gets the ball. He takes on, I don't know, Barisic, right? Skins him, and we're all like, oh, fucking done Barisic, because he's shite, he does him all the time. And then Connor Golson comes across, as Starfelt did, slides on the ground, painting the whole picture here, right? Slides on the ground, and Abada chops the ball inside him. He goes to put his foot in the ground, to run inside, to have a shot at goal, or play in Kyogo, who will get a shot at goal because he's coming in. But Connor Golson's trailing leg, he doesn't try to take him out, he tries to block it, but his trailing leg catches Abada's planting foot and makes him fall. We know what a penalty.
Ross, I'll tell you exactly how that situation would go, right? Hold on, right? Let me play this out in your mind. Picture this. Mm-hmm. It would go
penalty, but you need to go to VAR.
Oh, it would. It probably would. But we as a fan base are all want a penalty for that. So come on. I know he does because he's balanced. I'm not saying we would get a penalty, but I'm saying we would want a penalty. So you can't say that that's not a penalty. Anyway, we'll move on. Ross told them all, I'm getting pelters. I'm sorry. Wally will back me up when he watches it.
I'll back you up. I think it's a penalty.
I know. Franny, what? The two will back me up. Anyway, we'll move on.
I'm staunch. Like, I'm fucking Celtic.
I know. Right, we'll move on for that. It was a fucking penalty. Giakoumakis.
Oh, God.
He's rumoured to be going away. We don't know what's happening, right? But the latest one that has came out is Midtjylland. Stephen, I'll come to yourself again. I mean, a rumour is what it is, but no disrespect to Midtjylland. I don't want him to go, but if he does, he can surely get a better club than that.
I mean, it's like the whole Juranovic thing linked with Monza, a mid-based Serie A club who just got promoted from Serie B this year, or last season, sorry. And then Giakoumakis linked with Midtjylland. It must be a bad situation for Giakoumakis at the minute at Celtic. He must be really wanting out. And I kind of lean towards the fact that maybe he was promised something and something didn't come through. Maybe the contract that Celtic offered wasn't what he agreed initially in the summer with a gentleman's agreement. We all know how they go. And maybe he's just went, look,
I don't like to conspire on that.
No, 100%.
Anyway, sorry.
But why in a million years, right? Regardless if you're pissed off because Kyogo is getting the front there, you're pissed off you're not getting as much game time as you believe you deserve. Why would you go to the Danish league, to Midtjylland, for probably equivalent of the contract you're getting now at Celtic? And the only reason I can point to is because there's a must-get-out situation. If you're looking to get away that bad, there has to be a reason. You can hold off to the end of the season and assess your options. But if you're really rushing the move, and Midtjylland's the only club, and that seems to be the only concrete thing going around at the moment, and if he goes there, that's questions more for the Celtic board and the Celtic management team for me, rather than the player.
Again, I would have to agree with that. I'd be surprised. I would be amazed if he went there. I really would be. What's that? Russ is appearing. I missed
No loud in bar.
Sorry for autographs. Jed, send me a location, kid. Nah, listen. It's a funny one with Giakoumakis. Of course, we're talking about rumours. We don't know if it's true or no. And I agree with you, Stephen. If it is a really quick one out, Brown Brogues.
That's class.
That's
class,
outstanding. That is outstanding. By the way, see if we have a comment of the year awards.
That's up there.
Stunned. What's that? That's fucking Ballon d'Or right there. But anyway, I can't remember what I was saying there. I'll just come to you, Franny, right? We briefly, along with Stephen, chatted on this rumour earlier in the week. I'd be surprised if he went to like Midtjylland, but I would also be surprised. I would more understand, but I'd be surprised if he went to a bottom half Premier League team. And the reason being is because I think if he went, does he leave Celtic, right, to go to, well, does he leave Celtic with minimal minutes, because he deserves more, we all know that. Does he leave Celtic with minimal minutes to go to, for example, a Southampton to a relegation battle, even an Everton to a relegation battle,
But
right?
we were led to believe, Ross, it was more pay. Look, and you're not getting that in Midtjylland.
No, I don't believe you're going.
No, you're not. I know, but we're just for talking sake here, right? But do you go to a Southampton with, or an Everton to a relegation battle, and you're still not guaranteed any more minutes than you were getting at Celtic? Because as much as the manager will say to you, I can give you these minutes, and I believe he could get into the teams, by the way, I really do, but there's no guarantees. Do you leave Celtic for a title number 2 on your record personally, or do you go to a team like that?
So we're like, I think we're all unanimous in saying we'd rather Giakoumakis stays. It's no,
100%.
none of us are trying to punt the guy here. But if there's any truth and he does go to Midtjylland, it's a weird one. It is a weird one going there. Like Stephen said, we're all led to believe he was promised better money, and I don't believe you're getting that at Midtjylland. I believe we'll be able to compete with Midtjylland. But like I also, like you, Ross, I didn't really like getting into this gentleman's agreement. I don't think you get gentleman's agreement in this day and age. Like if he's been promised more money after a successful season, that's written in his contract. I think that's written in his contract when he signs. I think that's just him looking to get a better deal, which is fair enough. He's maybe thought, I've had a really good season here. I think I deserve a better deal. There's maybe teams sniffing about him, and he's maybe saying, well, I know I can get a big deal, a better move maybe, but he maybe wants to stay at Celtic, but I want a wee bit more coin to stay here. Because as I say, I think gentlemen's agreements would be getting written into contracts. I don't think he would be going on word of mouth, a wee handshake in that. It's no back in the days of Decano and Hoydonk in that. But I think I don't understand why an English team wouldn't be in for the guy. Top goal scorer in Holland, top goal scorer, and I know maybe teams look down on it and down in England and stuff, but it was 2 seasons trot. He's been top goal scorer in the league.
I've got limited games,
yes,
or minutes.
In the league he's played in, so it's one of them. Surely teams like you say, an Everton, a West Ham, Southampton, who are down there struggling for goals, think, well, this guy comes with goals. He'll guarantee his goals if we give him the service. He's sure he'll get decent money down there. It seems weird how the teams that are interested in if it's Michelin, but I certainly would rather he stayed. But things don't look great. Maybe we're just looking into it. Maybe I might be looking into it too much with because of the rumours and apparently want away. Looking into body, I've suddenly turned into a body language expert in that, and things didn't look great when he's coming on. But it's probably just me looking too much into it.
I think as well.
When you go, Steve.
Sorry, Ross. I think as well with the Jeezy situation, like in my mind, it paints a picture. Like as I said before, it must be a get out situation for him. He must feel that strongly that he wants out of the club. He would join him Michelin because I don't think the pay that he's on now, he could get better there. And I know someone said in the comments their highest fee they've ever paid £6 million. It doesn't look like they want to go that way. David Ferguson, let's be honest about it, there are way better players similar to Gigi out there. As long as we make a decent profit on, let him go. Again, there's always a flip side to it. And I can't remember which one of you always say this, but before he came to us, he had about 60 good games in a 7-year career. I think it's maybe you also said that.
No, he's only scored before he came, he's only scored about 62 career goals or something.
Yeah, right. So there's a flip side to it. Maybe this is what he does. He stays in the club, he leaves. We don't know the situation until it's confirmed.
Listen, I don't know, man. I think I speak for everybody. Well, maybe not everybody according to what Davy Ferguson's saying there, but for me, I love him. I think what he done last season, he's not had the minutes this season that he had last season to show us. But what he done last season, he played the second half of the season for us because Kyogo was out. And as much as Kyogo won us the cup and he won us, Kyogo half won us the league last season. Giacomakis won it. And I think I speak for probably everybody in the podcast at the very least. In the words of Casey in the Sunshine Band, please don't go. Don't go away. I want you to stay.
But you always say, Ross, if you get better, you get better.
Oh, there's always...
no, of course you do. Of course you do.
It's always better out there, but sometimes it is better the devil, you know, isn't it? One of the ones. You know what you're getting with Giacomakis.
We don't know if there's been a disagreement. There's certainly been something, right? I can't. What was that? He can't.
Harsh.
He can't.
Harsh.
I agree. He's never off his arse. That's it. I lost what I was saying there, but I think he's a tremendous player. That's what I was going to say. There's obviously been something there, right? Because he's not getting the minutes that he did. Kyogo's always getting picked, always. It doesn't matter what game it is.
It used to always be like 60 minutes. The striker would come after.
Aye, it's not even getting that. I know they're rotating the two wingers, but Kyogo's the mainstay now. So something's happened. He's either went away or there's been a fallout. We're only guessing, but I don't know. I just think he's a tremendous player, a tremendous finisher.
Kyogo or Gigi?
They
Who,
start.
no, one of them or the other at the club.
Kyogo.
Yeah. Franny, what about you? What?
Giacomakis, though.
Oof.
I like the boy, man.
Why? No, being patronising. I mean, why? What's the reasoning?
I agree. Kyogo fits the system a lot better. I just think out and out striker. He's better finisher. Hold up plays a lot better. He does do a lot of pressing. He's more an aerial threat. Obviously, I just think as a number 9. If we're thinking as a number 9, he's better. Kyogo, but if we're looking at the system,
It's a better number 9, undoubted.
If we're looking at the system and how Ange wants to play, I think Kyogo's better suited. But my preference, if it's one or the other, I'm probably picking Gigi.
See, if we change the system, you're having the two of them up top all day long. It's a match made in heaven. But Ange won't change the system.
No.
What about yourself, Steve?
Me, Kyogo. The only basis to my argument, as Franny kind of said at the end there, is the way Postecoglou plays the game. It suits a ball-playing striker, a ball-playing kind of partnerships and stuff. And Gigi isn't that, but what Gigi gives you, like, is finishing, is one-touch kind of clinical edge and being in the right spaces. And I know we get frustrated at Kyogo an awful lot in terms of being where he should be in that, but Kyogo is integral, like Maeda, to me, to this system. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, if I had to pick one, it'd be Kyogo, and Gigi would be popped out the door.
But then, see, at the same time, I'd say there you could have the two of them in team if we played two up top. I think we didn't play two up top when Giacomakis came on Monday. But you look at it, that's where we got our goal for. Giacomakis was playing as the out-and-out number 9. Kyogo dropped back to the number 10. And he got his goal as the number 10 off the back of Giacomakis being a nuisance in that 6-yard box and it breaking.
I mean,
well, to be fair, the final touch of that ball came from Jara.
Was it? No, Giacomakis. I'm not saying he played.
Oh, sorry.
I'm not saying he played. But he was. Jota played it in, and Giacomakis was the nuisance in the area, and it deflected out.
I may be wrong, but see the Dundee 0-9 game. Did we know? Did Kyogo play the 10 in that game? And Giacomakis up front. Or am I just fucking imagining?
No, you could be right, mate. I wouldn't argue that. I can't mind, to be totally honest with you. And Donny will no mind because he was patched.
From Jed, what do you think about that one?
What's that?
I think there's a big outlay for Shankland, and rightly so for Hearts. I think they should dig their heels in if anybody.
And they pay £5 for him, kid.
But I
think he's fucking shite, and I like the SPFL when I do my scouting missions, but he's fucking shite.
But I think Hearts would be asking for 3-4 million for him. And
he runs slower than Ross in a pair of brown brogues. That's outstanding. Nah, I think Shankland's pish. There's a reason he's not anywhere near the Scotland squad. We can't be talking about him in the same breath as Celtic. Absolutely no way.
Well, people talk about Alan McBurney in the Scotland squad, and he's fucking pish.
You talk about fucking Cammy Bell in the same breath as the Celtic squad.
Alan McBurney. I think he's the worst footballer I've ever seen.
He's the worst human I've ever seen. Yeah. But anyway.
I don't know. What's the other guy we had? Scottish.
Burke.
Aye.
Oh my God. Are you see? By the way, I hope he sees this, but have you seen him on Instagram?
Aye. No, that's what I mean.
I've never seen anything like it in my life.
If anybody watches this podcast, I wear some terrible clothes.
He goes out to nights out dressed like fucking the abominable snowman.
We're getting a lot of hate tonight, boys. This is good. I'm loving
this. That's what we're all about. We like to be controversial and get ripped. The worst human. Right,
he's
anyway.
Fucking terrible.
So we're going to move on for that, and we're going to look ahead to the Kilmarnock game. And I'm going to try. You're some banana.
What is it?
I said that game's finished.
Were they playing the night? No, they weren't playing the night. They're playing the tomorrow. Right. So, to both these, now we're having a wee mix up here before we get any further. So, normally we do the predicted lineups. We're going to change it up a wee bit because we get it wrong all the time. So I've decided that. Wait now, bear with me. I'm going to guess Franny's lineup. Franny's going to guess Stephen's, and Stephen's going to guess mine. And at the end of it, we'll have still the lineups that we thought. I don't know if it'll work. It might work, it might not. If it doesn't work, just tell us in the comments that you're fucking violent and we'll just move on and we'll forget that the next time.
There'll be anything different for the night then.
Jed, good morning all. We're moving on, kid. So, right, Stephen, thoughts on the game as usual, the score, and then, what did I say? Wait, no. Stephen is predicting
your team, it must be
mine, and then my lineup.
Right, so thoughts on the game. Now, at home against Kilmarnock, I know they've made a new signing, a striker, Kyle Fissell, coming from America. He's from Northern Ireland. He seems to be quite 6'2", a bit like the way they have Kyle Lafferty. You know, they like
SPL watch.
Physical players. Kyle Lafferty. Emphasis on the laugh, by the way. He's probably up there with the worst human being with Alan McBurney. Imagine them in the strike partnership, them two. Oh my god. But yeah, I mean, Kilmarnock under McInnes are a bit hot and cold. I think they beat Aberdeen, didn't they, recently? Although, to be fair, beating Aberdeen, exactly, Franny, they're dog piss. I don't know why Jim Goodwin's still in the job. Maybe can't afford to pay him off, but I'm quite confident getting into it. I think there'll be quite a few changes in the team, obviously, with the rumours of this bug going around. Yeah, I think not comfortable, but I will stroll they'll win. And my score prediction probably would be about 4-0 Celtic. And
4-0.
I have to.
Not that big confident. He's just predicted a 4-0. I predict a 4-0 game.
Right, and
Guy Melrose, look at this. Lafferty playing the more, he's the worst human being contender, 100%. Do you want me to do your lineup now, Ross?
Aye, go for it. Go for it.
Right, so, let's see. Hold on. So, obviously, I'm going to throw a wee spanner in the works here. Segrist in goal.
Oh, shut up, you fucking idiot.
Wait, joking. Hart in goal. Johnson at right back. Carter Fricker, Starfelt. Burnaby. I'll go McGregor, Hatate, Moy, Abada on the right, Jack Hamakis from the middle, and Jota on the left.
Is that your team?
11 out of 11.
Wow, that's class. That's absolute class, Stephen.
Stephen's won. There you go, kid. Hey, I'm more predictable than Ange. We know that. Ross Finlay singing. What was that?
Hey, baby.
But it's a killer. Right, Francis. Your thoughts on the game and your scoring lineup predictions. Obviously, you are predicting
Stephen's team.
Mine. No.
No, Stephen just predicted your team.
You're guessing mine. You're guessing Stephen. Sorry, aye. This is actually more confusing than I actually envisaged.
I think it'll be. I think it'll be confident. I'm going for a 4 or 5 as well.
I want a nailed down score. None of this
go for 5 then.
5. Wow.
Stephen's picked 4. I just think I know we never played great on Tuesday, but we obviously still got and on the grand scheme of things, we still got a decent result and stuff. All things considered, and I think Angel obviously been drumming it into them this week and things, saying that he obviously wasn't happy with that performance, and with being at home against, all due respect, Kilmarnock, not like Steve said, hot and cold, probably, but being at home, it's bigger park, it'll open things up. I think they'll come out flying, just be well out of sight by half time and stuff. So I'm going for a good comfy 5-0 just to show that, not that Tuesday. Can't say Tuesday was a blip, but just more the performance, wasn't to our usual standards, because we had, leading up to the Rangers game, we'd actually had some decent games. It was just the Rangers game was one of the ones where it can happen. Sometimes tends to happen away from home. And they
Sorry to
didn't
interrupt, but sometimes you have to concede as well, right? It wasn't their best performance on the day, right? But
Rangers
it's no
fan.
coincidence that it's probably the best team
Aye.
that we face in the league.
Yeah.
Away from home. So
Mhm.
it wasn't their best performance. You have to concede that they're a better team than
Aye,
anybody we
100%
face.
agree. 100% agree. And that's I think when going to Kilmarnock, who on the flip side that are going to be the best team we face, and we're playing them at home.
Yep.
I think
that's
what we've
how
established here
dominance.
is when Ross said he went to watch the Avengers movie, he really meant he went up to Murray Park to watch Rangers training and cheer them on.
Didn't Mulgavi?
Can't believe you get ripped for just being a nice guy.
But anyway, so Stephen's my predicted.
Right, here we go.
Stephen. I've went Hart, but after him pretending he was going Seagrass for you, I think he's went Seagrass, but I'm going to stick with my gut and say went with Hart.
Is Hart right, Stephen?
Oh,
what?
He's got himself mute. He was
Hart's right.
Okay.
Back for Johnson, CCV, Jens, and Bernaby.
Yeah.
Midfield.
Jens.
No. Starfelt. Wrong. Starfelt.
Prove it.
Right, 2 seconds.
Prove it.
Well, I've wrote down my team and your team.
Right, wait a minute. Right, so Johnston is right. CCV is right. Jens is wrong. Bernaby's right.
Bernaby.
Okay.
I mean, Bernaby's got obviously because Taylor's injured, isn't he? So.
I'm trusting you're going to be honest here. It's a shite game anyway. It doesn't matter. But
Steve, I better get 10 out of 11 now because that's him. He's got 11, so he can cut one off.
Right, midfield 3, Franny.
Callum McGregor, Hatate, and Moy.
Yep.
That's my midfield 3. And I think it was the same. I've went for the same front three as he predicted for you, Ross. I've went Abada, Jota, and Gigi.
No. Kyle go for the middle.
Line past that.
Right, so we've got. So you went Jota on the left, Stephen?
Yeah, and Abada on the right.
And
Abada on the right.
And he's
Kyle go through the middle.
Franny's
got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9.
I wrote Kyle and scrubbed him out.
Doesn't matter. You got 9, mate. Nobody cares, mate.
It'd have been 10 anyway. Still
cares, mate.
Still wouldn't have done it. Right.
So you got 9.
When anybody
Stephen
thinks
got
I've got terrible handwriting, the Stephen was my 5-year-old daughter writing your name.
That's very personal touch. Very personal touch.
So I was like, right, you can write Stephen's name.
Who have I guessed? Franny's. That's right. So we've got a 4-0 for Stephen, a 5-0, and we've got the guesses. I think it'll be 3-0 Celtic, especially away from home.
It's not away from home.
There he is, straight again. It's always.
Always a Tomlinson.
I'm going to go 3-0. I think off the back of the Rangers game. It could be 4, it could be 5, it could be anything, but I fancy it strongly. Of course I do. I'm going to guess Franny's team. I'm going to have a wee go at it. I'm going to say Hart.
All right, aye.
Thank you for that. Thank you for the input, Franny.
It's because I was looking down at my pad. I was actually looking down at my pad.
Johnston.
Yeah.
CCV.
Yeah.
Starfelt.
Prick.
Bernaby.
Yeah.
McGregor.
Hold the show a wee second. Why did you give me Jens if you went for Starfelt? Why did you think I'd play Jens?
Because you usually go for the one out there that you didn't think would get picked.
And that's why Gigi was in T.
What we're up to, McGregor?
Aye.
Hatate?
Yes.
Moy?
Yes.
Jota?
Where?
On the left.
I mean, he's in my team, but no there, so does that count?
Oh.
No, it couldn't say.
What?
Right.
It couldn't. Well, it's not. I'm not going to get them all right because Jota's on the right in Franny's team, so my head is on the left. So I've got Abada on the right.
All right, aye. So I've got my head on the left.
You've got Jota on the right.
Aye.
Right, so Abada's wrong and Kyle go through the middle.
Yeah.
I got 10. Franny, you're last. Staying last. So we all know what our teams were anyway,
Aye.
so we'll still see. But it was just a wee bit of a different dynamic to it because it was John said it was boring, and he's the man. He is like
The man with the
nah,
plan.
no, I'm only
With the
joking.
most
But
S.
it was like samey, so I thought I'd just mix it up a wee bit. But anyway, that brings us to the end of the proper podcast, and we're going to move on to Who Am I?
Part 2.
And part Stephen needs to fucking look at the comments. But I've tried to make this.
Comments off.
As difficult as I possibly could to take it away from everybody, even the guys in the comments. But there'll be guys in the but I mean, what I mean is the first two will be really difficult. The last one you should get it off it.
Right.
So you'll get at least a point. I
His
think.
name is Alistair Johnson. I think I've got it.
But it's to take the cheating away from Steve. No, it's like fucking
fuck off, you cheeky bastard.
You actually admitted it the last time you had the comments.
Yeah.
The comments are off. I can only see the banner side of things.
And by the way, see when they bring the comments back up and the guys can judge themselves if they're being honest with themselves how many points they got. That's fine. Right, so who am I? The first one. So
Ross.
Before we go any further, just so they get
That's me.
I'm sure I tried that joke.
So before we go any further, right? It's fairly simple. Three clues. If you get it in the first clue, you get 3 points. Second, 2 points. For third, 1 point. Right. So first clue, I earned 80 caps for my country. You can have a guess, or you can just whatever.
I want
you have a guess. Aye. If you have a guess, you're fucked.
Have they played for Celtic?
Of course they did. Well, they might have played for Rangers the way I'm going tonight.
80 caps.
Mikael Lustig.
No, Franny's out.
Oh, I thought
Come in second
right.
clue.
Oh no! Oh,
no, you're right.
You just got a
You're
guess.
right.
I thought you
Second
just got a guess.
I said if you went. I'm sure I said that, did I?
I thought you just said you could have a guess. Of course you did, Stephen. Of course you did.
Second clue.
Second clue.
What's it mean?
I would. Listen, just let him in. Just let him in, because you can either get 2 points or 1 point. It'll be fine. It's just a laugh, Stephen. I was born the 24th of May 1960, and I signed for Celtic on the 14th of May 1978.
I mean, I was close with Lustig, wasn't I?
19 what?
78.
Packy Bonner.
Wow. I'm just putting the comments on. Who had that?
No, I swear over.
Mate,
no, I'm serious.
I'll get it, because
That's outstanding.
I'm not seeing anybody saying Packy Bonner in the comments. So I'll give you it.
You can't say Bonner, by the way. It's out of order.
I swear to you, like, literally, I promise you right now, no comments.
That was Bonner. It was Bonner. And the last one was I'll just give the clue anyway, because I put work into it. I'm famously remembered for my penalty save from Daniel Timofte of Romania in the knockout stage of the 1990 World Cup in Italy. I think he's the one who got it for that, but Stephen got it.
No, I wouldn't
have.
Nah. Really? Wow. Do you not mind the Bonner saving it?
Do you know what narrowed it down for me? Because when you first said
90, 100% 90.
When you first said 80 caps,
90 more than 94.
When you first said 80 caps, I'm pretty sure there's a record for a Celtic player, and I'm pretty sure that's it. And then when you said 1978, I went longevity, because Packy Bonner was with Celtic for fucking years. So
did you?
You bastard.
Nah, by the way, you got that in clue number 2. I'm really impressed, Stephen. Right, so the next one, that's the last one.
I need to get in this one.
So, wait, no. So Stephen's got 2 points. And you've got none.
Yes.
Right. Right. I could play centre back or left back, and was at Celtic from 2009 to 2012 for 3 points.
Ulrich Larsen.
Wow.
So confident there.
That's your guess,
you
go on.
think?
Let me hold on.
I don't even think he
No.
was at the club at that time.
What
I think
year?
he was there about 03,
What
04.
year?
2008 to 2012.
20 Mulgrew?
Hmm?
20 Mulgrew?
Right. So I made 0 first team appearances.
Jesus
Oh my Jesus,
Christ,
man.
mate. I'm down
Oh,
for a piss. I'll punch you in
So
the
am
face.
I.
oh my Jesus, man.
Me.
I mean, I need to come up with a guess, but I'm not a clue, man. Not a clue.
Left back and
Because I've
Trying better not get this because I've not got a decider.
Nah, mate, I'm fucking nowhere, like, I'll be honest.
Here's
Because
another clue.
the only players I can really think of have obviously played a game. Can I actually have? Nah, I've never, mate. Nowhere.
Like, is it Lewis Tosney?
No.
Oh.
Right. He's went the third clue.
Might as
Yeah.
well,
I wonder how the guys are doing in this. But
I can't
no,
see.
mate.
Oh.
Well, you can't lose now, so maybe bring them up before we
No,
do
go.
the third
All
clue.
right.
No,
Go.
because
All right, okay. Right.
Right.
So the third clue is my first name is synonymous with a very famous Italian city.
What the fuck are you talking about?
I thought that would have gave it away. 2009 to 2012 Celtic player. He was a young guy at the time. I'll give you another clue. He was Czech.
Philip Twarslick?
No, Philip
Where
fucking
the hell's
Milan. I'll give you a clue. The city is Milan.
What the fuck?
His first name is Milan.
I gathered that, but
Milan Baros?
It's quite a hard one to be fair.
I've not got a clue.
Milan? I don't know, man.
Nah.
Milan Meissen.
Nope.
Take your face for a shape.
He's fucking. He didn't play for Celtic once. Milan
Kenny did that.
McDonald.
Did I get
Come
signed for
on,
him either?
guys. I could mind him.
Did he? Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Yes. George. Well, there you go. Stephen won 2-0, and that brings us to the end of the podcast.
After that,
Thoroughly
second
enjoyed
one,
myself. We're sitting at an hour and 58 minutes, and in my head, I was going for 58 minutes. I thought I'd fucking nailed it down. I cut some of this out.
You had about 5 topics to talk about.
Honestly, I'd cut it down. I thought we're fine, we're doing well, and
That
we
was
still
class, man. That's
rabbed
class.
on, talked shit, done 2 hours, loved it, and thanks guys for your input tonight because it's been brilliant. The topics were decent, but I was like, we've not had a game to go off of, so it's difficult. But we've all been staff each other like we always do, and we've done great.
It.
Ross, it
Loved
wouldn't
it.
be you hosting if it didn't drag on. So
I know, but
Good.
yeah, I wasn't even asking that many questions. We're just talking shit.
I mean, you asked us about Alistair Johnson, and somehow was ranted on.
Ryan Kelly got it.
Boom, Ryan. I knew somebody would get it. I'd have got it too.
No, you wouldn't have.
No, not at all. But listen, if you enjoyed it,
aye, loved it.
Brilliant, mate. Loved it. Loved the comments. Loved everything.
Just glad to be talking back about. We've not got, but just happy to be back talking about current affairs and stuff.
Plunge McNugget. Plunge you McNugget. What joke. Hey, listen, I'm done. I've had a good night.
And Ross a murderer.
Stephen is going to finish up with the pleasantries because that is just his job.
That's all I do now. But here, as we were saying about Alistair Johnson 4 or 5 hours ago, what do you think about his potential to be the right back for the next 10? No, we joking. Nah, but everyone in the comments, again, thanks for sticking with us. We've averaged 40, 50, 60 live, so it's been a good podcast. We've all had a great laugh. And until Monday, after hopefully a good result against Kilmarnock, stay well and keep safe. Hail, hail.